on this episode of The Honest Mechanic.
Yeah, I do want to piggyback on the customized value when I was talking about that previously. Now, let's say you have a regular vehicle and you purchase aftermarket rims and tires, or let's say you put the aftermarket radio equipment in there with the monitors and things like that. Make sure you contact your insurance agent, and that needs to have an endorsement on there, a customized equipment endorsement, in order to cover those things. If that endorsement isn't on that policy, in the event if something happens, the insurance company is going to give you the regular OEM original equipment from the manufacturer, as if that's a loss to that vehicle. Without that endorsement on there, we need that on there to cover your rims, your tires, your TVs, your monitors. Any aftermarket equipment that was not originally part of the vehicle has to have an endorsement on there.
There goes your water fountain time.
The water feature.
The ice sculpture of yourself.
Yeah. With the refrigerator.
Hey everybody, check it out. You're listening to the Honest Mechanic podcast with part 2 of the episode, Is It Cheaper to Keep Her? We have special guest Rob Johnson of the American Family Insurance Company giving some great value, tips, and advice from an insurance standpoint. Let's go into it. Is it cheaper to keep her?
What's the best way to say, hey,
He's
look,
rolling up his sleeves, guys.
I mean, because right now I'm like, I'm at that midlife crisis age, and I got that itch to buy something that normally you go, why do you need that?
Yeah.
And that's where I'm at. So the other day I'm reading as usual, and I run across the Lexus GS F with the supercharger.
Ooh.
So
another initial behind it. I thought it was GS. I got an F now.
Yeah, when you F Sport, and
right.
then they added the supercharger. Ooh. So when you get into these, I guess that would be up in the category of semi-exotic. But when you go to an auto show and you sit in these cars and the leather wraps around you and you smell the dead cowhide that has been perfectly tanned, and they've got the piping and the stitching and options that you look at that sticker on the side of the window and go, why do I need that? Mm-hmm. How do you call your insurance agent and say, because you don't have a VIN number, you don't have all the options that you're going to get. Right. Before, as an educated buyer, how do you go to go about saying, hey, I'm interested in a 2020 Ford Ranger, and I need a ballpark of what the insurance will be on this particular vehicle?
Yeah, great question. I always, as an agent, recommend my clients when they're car shopping to contact me first to get a quote. Yeah. And because you want to kind of get an idea not only what the car payment is going to be, but you want to factor in what the insurance payment is going to be. And normally on a newer vehicle, that insurance is going to be a little bit higher. Now, normally what I've seen with some of the newer vehicles now, because they have more safety features, the insurance industry are giving more discounts to those vehicles that have more safety features. So you see that a lot with the newer vehicles, especially with the
pedestrian collision.
Yeah, and then you have multiple airbags where you have front and side on the pillars, and so you have the additional airbags there. So the insurance industry are giving additional discounts for those vehicles. But I do always recommend my clients to say, hey, call me. Let me give you a quote first, because even if we don't have the VIN number, we can still give you a ballpark idea kind of what that insurance cost would be on it.
Okay, what's your contact information? Let's throw that
clients,
out there
if you ever need some quotes, you can contact me directly at my office, 773-427-5760. My email address is rjohns11@amfam.com, or you can contact me directly through my website. That's www.robjohnsonagencyinc.com, and you can request a quote via my website as well, or call the office directly, or shoot me an email.
Okay.
I even have customers now. Hey, you want to text me? Sure, you can text me. And with technology now, I mean, if that's the fastest way to get across to me, send me a text.
Yeah, because we're going to be going to the auto show, and a lot of people are going to be pulling out their phone. Let's call Robert.
Yeah,
Right. Yeah, Robert, I'm about to drive this car
the
through the
vehicles-
window at the auto show. Is this insured?
As car
Absolutely
shoppers,
not.
car shoppers, what you don't do is you don't call them and say, "Yeah, I'm interested in a Dodge Charger or a Dodge Challenger," and then it's like, "Oh, okay, you're interested in Dodge Challenger." But you didn't tell them you were going to buy the Demon or the
supercharged double Hemi.
the Angel or any of those, I mean, hey, nothing wrong with going to buy the Demon or Angel, but a regular V6 Dodge Charger
Yeah.
has nothing to do with the Angel or the Demon as far as insurance payments are going.
Yeah. And some of those vehicles, we have certain vehicles that we just can't insure that are not eligible.
Wow.
So we have, some of the high-end vehicles where we just stay away from them because the high-end value. So it's certain vehicles that we can't even insure because they're not even eligible. And certain vehicles based on, if those vehicles are used for racing purposes or things like that, then we stay away from those type of vehicles. So
I guess I'm not eligible. No, I'm just
Tanya's
She got a
secret
heavy foot,
weekend
yeah.
races.
So when you go to buy your Demon and they give you special gasoline
Yeah, right.
and 2 keys, this one is to use for every day and this one is to use at
Right.
the track. Check your insurance rate.
The name alone would scare me. Hey, Rob, I'm buying a Demon. Oh,
I'm sorry. On purpose?
Yeah.
And my buddy's looking at an Exorcist. And my other buddy wants an Angel.
Right.
And my son just told me about this thing called a elephant. I was like, how do you say that in the same sentence? It's like, it's out there. It's like 1,000 horsepower. I was like, really? What do you do with that?
Wow.
Yeah, so
Does it come with a lifetime supply of tires?
yeah, a lot of people are surprised by that they think like, okay, yeah, insurance companies should be able to insure any vehicle, but even like say for example, a customer called so I would say maybe called my office about 3 months ago, and he was purchasing that I want to say one of the high-end models of the Bentleys. And because of the high-end value on that vehicle, in most cases, you then have to find special companies that will insure those type of vehicles. Lamborghinis, the high-end Bentleys, some Maseratis, things like that.
Is that when you go stated value?
Correct.
Wow.
Yeah, you got to go stated value on
and
that.
honestly, since we brought up stated value, a lot of guys, it's spring and they're getting their cars ready for the spring, summer power tours. I think in 180 something days, if I looked correctly. Stated value is what? Just so that if they do, because we got all kind of car guys, if they go searching for insurance for that 87 Monte Carlo with the LS motor that they built, and it's now worth you got a car that and that's another issue. You got 87 Monte Carlo and you have an accident, probably its value is $3,500, but because you've completely rebuilt this car, it now falls under stated value. So if you can explain, that would be great.
So with the stated value, so when you're different. A regular vehicle, actual cash value, that's normally what we determine the value of the vehicle, the actual cash value. But with the stated value, then you have a lot of older cars, classic antique vehicles that, once again, you need that special insurance and you need to get that vehicle appraised by a dealer or someone that's going to appraise that vehicle to determine that stated value of that vehicle to make sure that it's insured at that amount. Because like you said, if it's an older, just a regular vehicle and something happens, well, they're just going to look at Kelly Blue Book, okay, it's worth it. How many miles? Yeah, I give you $1,500. Well, how's the gas? Well, yeah, minus $25, deductible, whatever. But you got the stated amount, you got it appraised. And that's going to have all the customized equipment on there, everything that you put on there for that stated amount. But you got to have that appraisal. You gotta have that
stated value, is that usually at about 10% of the
usually
value?
Usually about 10%.
For the year?
Yep.
Okay.
Per year, so yeah.
That's something I see. I watch Barrett Jackson and the other auctions. And they have their own.
Nice
they push their own insurance companies, finance companies.
Yeah.
Even in any car guys in Chicago, we're going to reach out to them, maybe see if they can give us some just to touch down with them. But it's a great family day to take the kids out to Volo Car Museum in Volo, Illinois, and a lot of the cars there are for sale. But if you try to pitch it to your wife and say, hey, let's go to a day at the car museum, guarantee her there's a lot there for her as well. She'll walk away and say, I enjoyed myself.
Wow.
So Volo Car Museum, that's one of those places where if we talk about stated value vehicles, they have a full entire, I think, 5 or 6 museums now in one location that have a large amount of stated value vehicles.
Yeah, I do want to piggyback on the customized value when I was talking about that previously. Now, let's say you have a regular vehicle and you purchase aftermarket rims and tires, or let's say you put the aftermarket radio equipment in there with the monitors and things like that. Make sure you contact your insurance agent, and that needs to have an endorsement on there, a customized equipment endorsement, in order to cover those things. If that endorsement isn't on that policy, in the event if something happens, the insurance company is going to give you the regular OEM, original equipment from the manufacturer, as if that's a loss to that vehicle. Without that endorsement on there, we need that on there to cover your rims, your tires, your TVs, your monitors. Any aftermarket equipment that was not originally part of the vehicle has to have an endorsement on there.
There goes your water fountain, Tommy.
The water feature.
The ice sculpture of yourself.
Yeah.
With the refrigerator. I mean, and that's
crazy.
That's right.
It can get funky, man. You know, insurance is. I mean, we all see the Flo commercials, and
shout out to Flo.
I didn't say the name because we got that. But
whoever Flo is to you, that's
I love the one where she goes, I think they're talking insurance.
Yeah.
It sounds like
speaking your language.
Right. And insurance language is a completely different language. And unfortunately, through my numerous cars and numerous incidents, I've learned more about it than I want to know. I mean, hey, I'm a survivor. I've been through a lot. But total loss is something that I can pretty much write a book on.
Yeah.
So I just I'm glad we got an insurance guy in the house, and those are the types of things that make your purchasing experience far more comfortable, where you're armed with your budget. Say, for instance, your budget is $600 a month. You don't go in a dealership and then you start out with how much. Well, the first question they're going to ask is how much you want to pay a month.
right.
Then you sign and you say $350 a month. You walk out the dealer at $421 a month because they stacked you, which is what they do. They stacked you up to $421 a month. You're sitting there scratching your head and kind of getting the rock where you don't know how you're going to figure out how to pay for that. Then after you sign those papers, they say, okay, you need insurance to leave the dealership. You call your insurance company and they'll say, hey, okay, that car is going to cost you $429 a month for full coverage, this, that, and the other. And you're going, oh,
Didn't price that in the beginning.
Now I'm in
Enthusiasm by the hour is dropping.
You don't realize that you haven't walked out the dealer yet, and you can bag out of this deal, and you in shame go, okay, and now you're either going to pay for a car every month, or you're not going to get it. You're not going to have it insured, and far too often people go without insurance. And when people go without insurance, because and I honestly, now that I'm sitting with an insurance agent, questions that run through my mind on a daily basis. Why is it that if I watch 30 minutes of TV, I get 5 insurance commercials? I get a guy throwing his wallet in the water. I mean, because I have an agent in here from a particular, I'm not going to say any names, but for some reason, one vendor uses the same backdrop in every commercial. And it involves throwing your wallet in the water, and then you've got the price tool, and then you've got a lizard. But I'm bombarded by these commercials. Then my 6-year-old singing
the jingles,
Oh,
Oh,
the jingle from our guest company, and then you know, there we go. So why are we at a point where the insurance companies are spending so much money to plant their name in our minds? Is it that insurance company people are, because times are hard, are people dropping their insurance, or is insurance, because insurance is systemically rising? So what is going on in the market right now?
Well, that's one of everybody needs insurance. And so whether or not we don't like to think about it, or whether or not we can't afford it, you don't want to be in a situation where something happens and you don't. A lot of times, clients, they'll roll the dice and they'll let their insurance lapse and don't pay it, and they're just like, okay, hoping nothing happens. Well, you don't want to take that chance. If something happens, you're going to be in a world of trouble. And so the insurance companies, when you see all of this marketing, when you see all this advertising, it's really to make people aware of the need of insurance. And insurance can be costly at times, just depending on where you are, the type of vehicle that you have. A couple factors we factor in, of course, driving record and history, all of things like that. Those are components that play a part in determining the premium. But everybody needs insurance.
Now, what's the perfect age for the perfect demographic for the lowest insurance?
The perfect age for the perfect demographic. So we have some characteristics that will get you the best rate. So if you're married, if you are, let's say you're living outside of the city in the suburbs, okay? And if you have other lines of insurance, we have your home, we have your life insurance, we have other lines of insurance, that's a great candidate that most insurance companies like. And that age, when I say married, normally 30s to 60s, you're going to get like an outstanding rate based on those characteristics. Married, living in the suburbs, other lines of insurance, and good driving record.
Good driver, okay.
Yeah, good driving record.
Are there, if you've had some infractions, are there any things that you can recommend for people to do to save additional money, like an 8-hour defensive driving course or something like that?
Yeah, it's a great question. So when you get your first violation, normally if you get your first moving violation, like disregarding a stop sign, speeding ticket, or something like that, they should recommend, most places, most counties, they should recommend traffic school.
Or stupid school.
Yeah. You're going to have to sit there on a Saturday and waste some time. But
online now.
Yeah.
Available
it's
online.
worth it.
Wow.
It's worth it because that violation then it will not show on your driving record. Because once you get a ticket or a moving violation, it's going to stay on your record for 3 to 5 years. That's going to increase your insurance premium. If you get your first violation, they're going to give you that option. Take that option. Go take that traffic school. Go to stupid school, online, on a Saturday, whatever you got to do. Make sure it's not on your record.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's good.
Totally agree with that.
And I just asked that because I did get a speeding ticket not too long ago, and went to court. And I yes,
The honest mechanic?
Dun, dun, dun.
and I felt a little odd because like I haven't had a ticket
I'm the
in
honest
over
mechanic,
10 years. So I'm sitting in there in the court, and they're just passing out these $300 fines. And I look at the back of my ticket, and I go, if they didn't come to court, the fee would be $150. But they did not offer any supervision on the ticket or anything like that. So it's kind of like a cash grab. And I mean, I went to court. They gave me supervision for 3 months, and I did sit there and tell the state or whoever it is. I don't know when the last time I had a ticket. She looked, and it was in the 90s. So it was, like, look, I need this not to hit my record because this is the point where I need some cheaper insurance in my life. Yeah. So I paid the fee, but I was a little perturbed that they didn't explain to people that it's more cost effective to not plead or to do the what do you call it, traffic safety school, do other things to keep it off your record. Because that $100 a month increase, or depending on what it is, could be upwards of $300-400 a month increase in your insurance premium. Is not worth it for 3 to 5 years, or however long they hold it against you.
And that's key because, let's say you get into another accident and God forbid, accidents happen, and then you have another claim on your record on top of that moving violation. And so now you're looking at, by the time your insurance renews the next term, you're probably going to see a rate increase. So I always recommend if you could avoid those violations, if you can opt to do the traffic school, recommend doing that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great info.
Yeah. And as we come to a close, I do have a question. You mentioned earlier about smoking. Now I'm going to go Tina Turner on you. What smoking got to do with it? Now, I'm not a smoker.
I got concerned for a second.
What is insurance
You
and
good?
smoking?
Well, as far as like auto insurance, only when they're trying to determine the value of the car when the vehicle is a total loss, you're going to just get more value on cars that are like people don't smoke in them. Your value is going to be high.
And I can honestly say I went to buy a Ford Flex, and I found a really nice one, white, clean, that white interior, and I drove it. Purchased it from CarMax, and drove it for like 3 days, and this smell was just horrid.
You
can't
know,
get rid of it.
know
I
it's a
took
smoker in there.
changed the cabin air filter with the charcoal filter, and I thought I could take it, but I literally returned the car
Ain't enough air freshener
because it was
to
just,
get rid
it
of
was
that smell.
just putrid
That's just in there.
It's in
and it's no way it's just. It's not
Gives you a
pleasant.
headache almost.
It's not pleasant, and especially if you're sensitive to it. So nobody wants to buy a car that a smoker. I mean, you can get the greatest deal in the world, but you really do you want to suffer through having your windows always cracked for fresh air just because somebody had this car that smoked?
It's raining. Can we let the windows up? No, man.
No.
You always keep Advil in the car because you got headache all the time.
And it's funny, we were just talking about universal health insurance and smokers and the cost of smoking. It's unfortunately, I do feel bad for anybody who does smoke because they were hoodwinked and bamboozled by big tobacco many years ago, or whatever reason they smoke, and it's something that affects you in every aspect of your life.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Insurance is one of them. So, yeah.
Okay. Well, just some closing words from a mechanic and an insurance agent.
Yeah.
Especially with young people, trying to get insurance, again, they're not in that group that you mentioned. That's a good deal.
Yeah.
So what's some words of wisdom to people, getting their first car, and getting insurance?
I always recommend, and we have, youthful drivers. We have a daughter that's 16 that she's going to be getting her license soon. She's going to be driving. I have a 23-year-old and a 19-year-old, so been through it all. I always recommend this to the parents. Don't try to get the most expensive car for youthful drivers. Start them off with an older vehicle and just put liability on that vehicle, because the insurance is going to be a lot lower and the cost is going to be manageable. You see a lot of times where, parents spoiling their kids and buying these teenagers 2017, 2018 vehicles and saying, hey, Rob, what's the insurance going to be on them? My daughter has her license now. They're driving. Well, I don't encourage that. Now, if you have the money to spend on insurance, but just know it's going to be expensive, but start them out with an older vehicle. Like we have still a 2001 Toyota Avalon. That
my favorite car.
Yeah,
that's a great
a great car. And when she gets her license, my son and her, they're driving that vehicle. Liability only. Keep the cost down. It's affordable for my wife and I. That's what I recommend.
Born as a library, but it
is born, but hey. And the reason why I say that, because within the first year to 3 years that a youthful driver gets their license, they have an accident. And that's why you see the insurance costs up. So
and just because the statistics say that a youthful driver will have an accident, and I know why, because I let my son bring me home yesterday, and I kind of had that unnerving feeling of.
You start seeing the stats in his head.
Percentage.
1 out of 3 teenagers.
How do I unteach you the habit that you've been taught by someone else's driving? It's like,
yeah.
But I realize that I'm 40 now, and I drive a little more reserved than I used to, because I'm not in a hurry to get where I was going. Now, when I was young and had somewhere to be on time and didn't understand that if I got there a few minutes late that the world wasn't going to end, I'm kind of like, I was unnerved. I was like, oh my God. And I never thought that I was that kind of guy, because I don't panic 98% of the time. I've been on fire and didn't panic. I've put out fires that were by flammable materials and didn't panic.
Oh, that's hot.
Right. Exactly.
Like, you guys warm, or is it just me? I'm on fire.
Believe it or not, Dave, that's exactly how it happened. I was
wow.
I literally looked down and said,
my leg's on fire.
I was welding. I was brazing some copper, and I said,
smoke?
It feels warmer than it should. And looked down, and my pants was on fire. I had
man on fire.
So, because you still got a lit torch in your hand, you can't just drop the torch to put yourself out. So you got to control the one flame, put out the other flame, and just be like, okay, whew, that was a shocker.
That happened.
And your 6-year-old goes, why is the big hole in your pants, Dada? I called fire today, baby.
Yeah.
He's like, are you okay?
Been worse.
Yeah. But yeah, but to have him drive and turn a corner, and he didn't brake before he got to the corner, he kind of just did. He braked before the corner and then let his foot off the gas and rolled around the corner. Yeah. And I was like,
Still learning the road.
No.
Yeah.
You turned into an old country mother.
Thank God you took us and brought us.
I pray, Lord Jesus, for traveling grace.
Be like Marvin Sapp. I made it.
Man.
Never would have made it. Had them brakes not been changed by Pep Boys.
Man, that's the truth, boy.
You are absolutely right. My goodness. Well, thanks. I want you to plug your business one more time so people will know how to reach you.
Sure. If you ever need any insurance quotes, homeowners, business, auto, life insurance, contact American Family Insurance, Rob Johnson Agency, Inc. at 773-427-5760, or you can email me at rjohns as in Sam 11 at amfam.com, or you can hit me up on the web at www.robjohnsonagencyinc.com. Thank you so much for inviting me to the show. Yeah.
We're glad to have had you out. Thank you. Yeah. We're actually we'll be on social media when we have certain topics that you guys send us. We'll look for as expert of an opinion that we can get. And just the crosstalk between various forms of auto life, we should be able to answer any questions that you may have had or may not have known that you had. And hopefully we can lead you into a way of saving a few dollars and making the best decision for your situation.
Yes.
That's it.
All right. Well, thank you for joining us for another episode of The Honest Mechanic, and we'll see you next week.
Hey guys, thanks for joining us for today's episode. Is it cheaper to keep her? Special shout out to Rob Johnson and American Family Insurance for joining us today. We really appreciate you, and check out their products and things that they offer. Be sure to stay connected with us online. Visit the Honest Mechanic podcast page, which holds the RSS feeds and all the links to our social platforms at thehonestmechanicchannel.libsyn.com. That's thehonestmechanicchannel.libsyn.com. And as always, we appreciate you. And from the entire Honest Mechanic camp, this is Dave reminding you to keep it honest.